Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Jason Fraser from the NBC affiliate in Cleveland, Ohio. Hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to be talking about what it's like to basically be a TV meteorologist and how do I come up with my weather forecast each and every night. As always, we like to get started with something funny. So let's do that. What's the difference between weather and climate? It's a pretty good. You can't weather a tree, but you can climb it. Get it? Weather, climate. Okay. All right. That was really funny. As always, if you have any weather questions, you can feel free to drop me an email, jfrazer@wkyc.com, or you can feel free to leave me a message right at the bottom of this. So today we're going to be doing a quick meteorology review, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what I review each and every day right before the broadcast, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about how I create my forecast. So the first question I always like to ask people like you is, what does a meteorologist do? And I get a variety of different things from you just read, or maybe you just click a couple of buttons and voila, everything appears. Well, that's not really true. Let's skim this topic. So, what meteorology is, it is the science dealing with the atmosphere and its phenomena, including weather and climate. Thank you, dictionary.com. Basically, that is a way of saying that I think and I analyze the weather. So, what does the weather include? Well, meteorology includes temperature, clouds, what the air pressure is doing, whether or not it's going up or down, precipitation. Are all those clouds causing it to rain or snow or sleet, or is there a little bit of hail? Then I'm also concerned about the wind direction, right? Is it going from the south? Is it going from the north? Reason why is because that's going to impact temperature and possibly whether or not the air pressure is going up or down or whatnot. And then obviously wind speed. Now, in order to do all of this, I need to have a couple of different instruments and computers that I use, and it helps make things a little bit easier. So, obviously, you've heard me talk about some of these instruments before, but I'll just do a quick review of them. A thermometer, obviously, that judges the temperature, so whether or not it's hot or cold. A barometer that talks about air pressure, so that's how we can see in not only at the ground, but in the upper levels of the sky, whether or not a storm is coming or whether or not there's going to be a nice sunny day. Rain gauge measures how much rain has fallen. Anemometer, which is this little thing here. It's actually my favorite weather instrument just to look at because it goes around and around. But that measures wind speed, and obviously a wind vane measures the wind. So one of the other things that I use is satellites. Yes. One of the things that we like to see from space is how big are these storms and where are they coming from, right? Because most of our weather instruments are where? On the ground. And where's most of the weather coming from? Yep, right there up in the sky. So we have to have a way that we monitor what's going on way up in the sky, and that's why we have satellites. So one of the more popular ones that we meteorologists use is something called GO-17, which stands for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite. And that helps us not only identify where the storms are, but it also helps us figure out where the storms are going and how big they are, and maybe they're going to grow. Maybe they're going to encounter something else that may help them grow or help them die off. Now, the other thing that I use, and you're going to hear a lot of meteorologists talk about this thing called models, right? So the GFS model, or the European model, or the Canadian model, right? These are all very complex math and science equations that will take all of the different data that all of the satellites and the thermometer and the barometer, it all will go into a massive database. And what happens is these models will review them and figure out what's going to happen, but they all do it differently. So the best way to describe this, or I should say compare it, is if you were to look at this glass of water, right? Many of you would think, well, you know what? It's half full. Or some people might say, no, it's half empty. Actually, it's a little bit more than full. But some people would say it's a little bit more full. Some people would say, nah, it's kind of, I would say it's a little bit empty. And some people who are like me would be like, it's almost at the halfway mark. And that's pretty much what models do. They look at something and they say, this is what's going to happen. Now, my job is to figure out which one of these models are correct and which ones we can say, you're making stuff up. Now, there are times when the models are actually saying the same thing, and then there are times when the models are saying all different things. And that is when it gets fun, and that's part of the reason why I have a couple of gray hairs that I didn't have when I started this job. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can review all of the model information. There is this website that I go to called the College of DuPage, and that will give all of the different weather models and that information for free. So you see the HER, you see the NAM, you see the NAM Nest, you see the GEM, the GFS, the GFES. Again, these are all different models in different ways. It's kind of like pizza. Okay. Some people like pepperoni. Some people like Hawaiian, which I don't really understand. Some people like it with sausage, right? They're all different types. And that's pretty much the same way for weather models, right? So, what I'll do each and every day is I'll go either on this site or some other sites that I use, and I'll look at not only what's going on in terms of temperature, but also what's going on very high up in the sky. Because what happens is the atmosphere is divided up into different levels. And depending on what's happening at one level will impact what's happening at another level, right? So for example, if you're living in a house, right, and you're trying to study and no one's upstairs, okay, all right, you're good. But if there's someone dancing and throwing a massive party upstairs, right, it's going to impact what happens where you are because you're going to be like, oh, right, and all over the place. So that's why we like to look at different levels of the atmosphere to determine what's potentially going to happen. So this is the GEFS model, and this is outlining what's going to happen Thursday into Friday of this week. Now, the other thing you'll notice is this is another model, the GFS model, and this is from pretty much the same time period, maybe by about another hour or two of a difference. But you'll notice here, it's saying it's not even going to rain on the eastern side of Ohio. So which one should you believe? Again, this is where your training, this is also where your experience also comes into play as well, where you have to figure all that stuff out. The other thing that I do each and every day is I'll review the website from the Storm Prediction Center. That is in conjunction with the National Weather Service and NOAA. And basically, what they do is they will determine where the worst weather is going to be for the day. So if they know that there's going to be a tornado, they can look at the different levels up in the sky and they can say, hey, you know what? There's a lot of instability over Missouri. And we know that when we have a lot of instability over Missouri and we have the right wind speed, that means we could get tornadoes. And that's when they start coming out with these reports and all these different colors are representing different things that can happen. All right. So if you see some of these like lighter colors here on there, that just means there were thunderstorms. But once you start getting into some of the oranges and even some of the pinks and reds, that's really talking about some storms, some supercell thunderstorms that will likely happen. And sometimes those storms can be pretty bad. I mean, we're talking pretty catastrophic. The other websites that I'll also look at is a website sponsored by the Weather Prediction Center, which is a different office. And they basically help all of the meteorologists determine where the fronts, which fronts are, again, different dividing lines, right, between warm air, cold air sometimes, and they'll also help us figure out where the different air masses are as well. Now, you can do this without looking at the Weather Prediction Center map. Sometimes, if it's a really crazy day, I'll cheat a little bit. I'll just look here. But there are other times where I just prefer to actually look at another type of map that will help me figure out where the fronts are. Now, the reason why I care about where the fronts are is because that's going to help me figure out whether or not there's going to be a change in temperature, whether or not there's going to be some storms coming our way, or that's going to also help me figure out where the high and low pressures are. So that may help me determine, hey, it's going to be really sunny, or whoop, it's going to be really crazy outside. So you're going to maybe want to grab a coat or a raincoat or an umbrella. All right. So that's why I like looking at this. And the other thing that I'll also look at, and this is normally as I'm getting towards the end of coming together with my forecast, I'll review what the local National Weather Service office is saying, whether or not they have any watches or warnings or advisories, because I want to make sure that each and every night that I tell you or I tell your family at home that, hey, something big is going to happen, and the National Weather Service wanted me to tell you about that. And a reminder, we as broadcast meteorologists, we do not issue any watches or any warnings or any advisories. All we do is pass along that information to people at home. So I know a number of people who always will ask me, well, hey, a tornado happened in my neighborhood and there wasn't a warning. Well, we don't issue warnings. We try to look at some of the same stuff that our partners at the National Weather Service look at, but we are not empowered to do that. The other thing that I'll review is something called a forecast discussion. And for some of the adults who are watching this lesson, I will tell you right now, some of that information is really, really, really sciencey, like upper level science. So you can have some fun reading it, but for the most part, there are definitely going to be some things there that you're going to be like, what does that mean? Now, the good part about this website is if there's something that you don't know, so sometimes they'll talk about tornado genesis, for example, right? Which basically means that we can see the beginning of a tornado developing. You can actually click on the word and it'll tell you what that is. So after I review all this information, right, and I figure out the temperature, whether or not it's going to be sunny outside, if it's going to rain, if it's going to snow, maybe I'll figure out if there's going to be any significant changes to the weather. Maybe it's going to be really warm and then it's going to drop off and be really, really, really cold. And are there any what I like to call weather dangers that are heading our way? So maybe there's some strong thunderstorms. Maybe there's some pretty strong winds that are heading our way. This all helps me come up with what I call the weather story, right? Because at the end of the day, broadcast meteorologists, while we are scientists, we're also storytellers. We have to figure out what is it that the general public needs to know about, what's the most important thing that's going to impact their safety, their health, as well as potentially them, getting a job and going back and forth to their job. So each and every night I think about this and I think about what is the most important thing that everybody's going to want to know about. And sometimes it's just, hey, it's going to be sunny and 65 outside. But then there will be other times when I'll talk about, no, there's the potential for some flooding. And if you live in a place that floods a lot, you may want to get to higher ground. So normally each and every night, or during the morning, I should say, I'll have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to tell that weather story. And I usually don't have a script in front of me. So it is all off the top of my head, which is often fun. So it's time for you to do some homework. I would love for you to pull together a weather forecast. So, like, wait, what? I have homework to do? Now, here's what I need you to do. I would love it if you could come up with a 3-day forecast, right? So you have to review some of the websites that I told you about, and you have to tell me what the temperature is going to be. Will it rain or maybe there's snow? And anything else that you think the TV audience should know about. And I'm going to upload a handout on wkyc.com /education. You can find that web link here, or what I'll also try and do is I'll try to post it under this video as well. But I would love for you to give it a try and let me know. And I think one of the things you're going to figure out right away is it's not easy as we thought. Now, once we come up with our forecast, we use a computer system called WSI, and that will basically help us put all the really cool weather graphics together. So sometimes you'll see us zoom into a place, or sometimes you'll see us zoom out. That is all from this computer system, and it's pretty cool. Some versions of the computer system actually have what we call virtual reality graphics. So that's where you can actually see where it's snowing in front of you. We're possibly going to be getting something like that in the next couple of years here in Cleveland. But I love it. I've seen it in Philly and in New York on some of the TV stations, and I'm like, oh. All right. All right, so that's it, folks. Tomorrow is going to be the last day of the weather school, and we're going to be talking about some cool yet strange weather phenomenons that happen. So I'm looking forward to always. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, short speeches, long speeches, let me know. Drop me an email, jfrazer@wkyc.com, or feel free to leave me a message on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or Snapchat at Jason Fraser TV. All right, look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye now.